Welcome again. My name is Til Szabolcs, the one with the difficult name, and in this video I'd like to say a few things about anxiety. So what is anxiety? If we wanted to describe what it feels like to be anxious, we may use expressions like I feel uneasy, I feel tense, I am worried, I'm concerned, I am scared, or I'm afraid of something. Based on these expressions, we could say that, first of all, anxiety can feel very intense and unpleasant at times, and second of all, more than likely you already know what it feels like to be tense, concerned, afraid, so to be anxious. It is because experiencing anxiety is a natural reaction and it happens to all of us. But what do we react to in this way? Normally, to an actual or a belief change that could be unexpected or perhaps planned, so something that we are aware of beforehand, like an exam, some sort of a competition, or giving a presentation. You may have heard this example before, but I usually use the following situation to explain what anxiety is like, in my opinion. If you have a favorite park, imagine that you are walking there as you normally do. The sun is out, there's a beautiful clear blue sky, you feel calm, and everything is as good as it can be. And then, wow, suddenly you spot a big brown bear not far from you. Maybe the bear even turns towards you. Maybe it doesn't even take notice of you. So what happens in our body in a situation like that? First of all, we perceive, based on the information from our environment, that something is happening. So the sight of the bear reaches our brain where we try to process this information. More than likely, we will perceive this unexpected and actual change in our environment, so that our usual walk in the park has been disturbed by the bear, so we will perceive it as a threat or a danger. When we feel under threat, we normally either fight, flight, or freeze. In more recent theories, we could also find fawn as a reaction under threat, which often means consciously or subconsciously trying to please someone to survive the threat. This type of reaction could be more characteristic to those who grew up in an abusive family or who frequently experienced abusive situations. But let's stay with fight, flight, or freeze for now. So what do they look like in practice? If we fight, well, we will fight the bear. Obviously, this is not recommended in real life. So if we fight, it means that probably we will need to be in our best shape against the bear. Our brain will be on our side in that. It perceives the threat and the need to fight and commands the adrenal glands, just above the kidneys, to secrete adrenaline and noradrenaline. Just as a side note, it is good to know that while we prepare for a fight by secreting adrenaline and noradrenaline, a second process also starts in our brain, which could take effect about 20 to 30 minutes after the adrenal glands had been activated. This second process involves the secretion of the energizing hormone called cortisol, which will result in prolonging our original response to the threat, which was either fight, flight, or freeze. And this prolonged survival response can now be harmful to us. But let's get back to the original response. So the adrenaline and noradrenaline will get into our bloodstream and will be transferred to where we will need them the most during the fight. And it is because of these hormones that we experience the physical symptoms of anxiety, such as breathing rapidly, also called as hyperventilation, as the blood vessels in the lungs expand, allowing for higher oxygen intake. Then we also have the rapid increase in heartbeat, increased heart rate and blood pressure, and, for example, sweating as well. We may also experience a state of hypervigilance, which means that our senses sharpen up and we may be more sensitive to sensory input from the environment, such as light and sounds. These physical changes all serve the same purpose, that is, survival. The flight response, or we could also call it avoidance, serves the exact same purpose but with different tools. In relation to the bear, it means that we will try to run away from it. To run as fast as we can, we will probably need to be ready just as much as if we were to fight. The third variation is freeze, which is a motionless state. In my understanding, it means that we do not have any better ideas as to what to do, and so whatever happens to us, we will allow it to happen. Within the freeze response, we may experience powerlessness and submission, or the feeling of giving up. So there's an actual situation of walking in the park, spotting the bear, and then fighting, running, or freezing for the purpose of survival. Okay. But what happens if we walk to the park and we only believe that we just saw a bear? Well, the same thing will happen more than likely. A believed situation could lead to the exact same reaction without an actual threat. And what if we are not talking about a bear, but about a person, and simply thinking about that person makes us feel sick to the stomach? Or about the stress that we feel because of work, stress that stays with us even before and after work? Well, we will probably experience some of the physical symptoms of anxiety in all of these situations. I could also imagine that we don't even understand why we are feeling anxious, and yet it creeps up on us over and over again, seemingly without any reason. Not in all cases, but sometimes with anxiety could come depression as well. This could be explained by the burdening nature of experiencing anxiety frequently and for a prolonged period of time. This could lead to mood changes, and we may also experience helplessness or hopelessness after a while. What can we do about anxiety? Quite a few things, actually. We could aim to recognize our own personal triggers and act accordingly. There are therapeutic approaches that focus on thoughts and their influence on behavior, such as cognitive behavioral therapy. Some people might find it more beneficial to aim to discover where their anxiety originates from. Personally, I find it important to look at a person's experiences in their own context and then aiming to find the most suitable approach for them. So instead of tailoring the person to the approach, tailoring the approach to the person. Allow me to share with you one common misconception about anxiety. That is that anxiety can only have negative effects on us. As I mentioned previously, the ways we respond to anxiety prepare our body to deal with potential threats, which will come very handy in case of an actual threat. Imagine going to the park 100 times, and 99 times out of 100 we only believe that we just saw a bear when there is no bear at all, and we do not prepare for the last time, and that is when the bear is there, and that is when the bear is going to eat us. So our survival responses to threatening situations are absolutely necessary. In fact, studies suggest that an optimal level of anxiety can improve some people's problem-solving skills and could enhance their performance in general. The keyword is optimal, as it will vary from person to person. Some individuals may feel able to tolerate high levels of anxiety while their performance is also improving, while others will struggle from similar levels of anxiety. That is why I always say, and this is how I'm going to end this video for now, always aim to find your pace. Thank you, and I wish you well.